This is ITV, where Edmonton's news comes first.
It's Saturday, February 24th. Tonight's top story. A potentially deadly epidemic in the Northwest Territories raises health concerns here. Then,
I just saw a Jeep parked off one of the side streets. I had some time, so I turned around, went back, and that was my Jeep. I couldn't believe it. Just unbelievable.
A city man finds his own stolen Jeep. Plus, the search for a killer enters cyberspace. And in sports, mushing through Edmonton's River Valley.
Now, ITV News at 6.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. At the top of the news this evening, it's almost as common as a cold, and usually the symptoms are no more serious than a runny nose and a bad cough. But sometimes it can be fatal. We're talking about RSV. It's a respiratory virus that in the past week has swept through a number of small communities in the Northwest Territories. The question is, what kind of threat does RSV pose here in Edmonton? Reporter Sonia Nordahl investigates.
24 young children have been airlifted out of this small hamlet in the Northwest Territories and taken to hospital in Manitoba. 2 are in critical condition. The highly contagious virus has now spread to other remote northern communities and has the makings of a serious epidemic. Doctors say there's no sign of an RSV epidemic in Edmonton this year, but that doesn't mean it won't strike a number of kids. In fact, as many as 200 are hospitalized with the virus every year. In pediatric wards around Edmonton right now are 11 children who have come down with a serious case of RSV. This time last year, there were about 60 young kids in hospital suffering from the virus. And while it's a common virus, it can be deadly for kids under 6 months.
Unlike most viruses, even after you have had RSV, you keep getting it again. So obviously, immunity from previous infection is only what we call partial immunity. It prevents you from getting as severe of an infection, but it certainly does not totally prevent the infection. The other really interesting thing about RSV, it's one of the few viruses that causes severe disease in the first few months of life.
21-month-old Michael may seem happy and healthy now, but a couple of weeks ago he was in hospital because of the deadly RSV virus, and his mum was terrified.
He lost a lot of weight. He was dehydrated. I'm sure he lost about 6 pounds, and he's just a little guy. So I was just scared because it's just alarming to see your boy be sick. And it's not treatable, really.
Most of us will get RSV, and you'd never notice. And even if your young child, like Michael, comes down with it, it's not usually serious. But there are signs to look out for.
The time that parents should be worried when their children seem to have a severe cold is if they obviously are having trouble breathing, or if they're not drinking well. I think those are the times when parents need to be concerned. Simply being told that your child has RSV is not a need for parents to panic.
Sheila McElhenney advises you listen to your instincts.
I was foolish to take as long as I did to react to this. He was sick, and I kept thinking, I guess it's just another cold, or maybe he's teething. And then I did go to the doctor like 3 times in the course of a week, but I would just... You know when something's wrong with your child.
Sonia Nordahl, ITV News at 6.
And an update now on the situation in the Northwest Territories. Another baby in a remote village has been struck with RSV. In all, 29 babies now in the tiny hamlet of Arviat have been hit with the symptoms. Those symptoms, again, are very much like the cold or the flu. There is a high fever, lung congestion, and lots of mucus present. And RSV is particularly dangerous for infants under the age of 1.
ITV News Weekend Edition with Neil Fitzpatrick and Mike Sobel.
In other news this evening, several people are in hospital after a serious crash in Edmonton's West End. It happened this afternoon around 2 o'clock. 3 vehicles were involved in the collision on 142nd Street near Stony Plain Road. The jaws of life had to be used to free 2 adults and a child from a blue station wagon. 2 other motorists were also injured. The southbound lane of 142nd Street was shut down for several hours this afternoon while police investigated. There's no word at this point on just how serious those injuries are. There's a happy ending for an Edmonton man who had his Jeep stolen. The story all started Friday when Larry Loken took his new vehicle to a downtown car wash. Loken was shocked there to find out someone had taken off with his 1996 Jeep Cherokee at the Minute Car Wash on Jasper Avenue. The Jeep was stolen while in the lineup for a wash, but today Loken has his Jeep back, and he found it on his own.
I just thought I'd keep my eyes open, thought maybe I'd see the car driving by or whatever, and I just saw a Jeep parked off one of the side streets. I had some time, so I turned around, went back, and that was my Jeep. I couldn't believe it. It's just unbelievable.
Minute Car Wash is giving Larry unlimited car washes for the next year to compensate him. Liberal House Leader Frank Brusaker has some new responsibilities. The man responsible for the Multicorp shakeup now holds the title of Economic Development Critic for the Liberals. It's one of many changes made by the Grits in a shuffle of the shadow cabinet. In another move, former Edmonton Mayor and Liberal Party leader Lawrence Decore takes on a new role. Debbie Carlson bumps Decore from the Federal and Intergovernmental Affairs critic position. Decore now becomes a senior statesman for the Liberal Party. Premier Ralph Klein was lost in the fog last night. The Premier was supposed to speak at the annual Red Deer PC Association dinner, but fog prevented his plane from landing in the city. That angered protesters waiting for Klein's arrival. They were there to let the Premier know they're not happy with plans to privatize some of the jobs at Red Deer's Michener Centre. ITV's Doug Downs reports.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Well, the Tories have got to go. Hey, hey!
Food and laundry workers from a local center for the handicapped arrived early. An American firm is buying the company, and these people fear they may lose their jobs.
What do we want? Jobs! When do we want them? Jobs!
But by nightfall, Premier Klein still hadn't arrived. Too much fog at the Red Deer airport kept his plane from landing. Labor Minister Stockwell Day made his way through the crowd as the protesters chanted a synonym for cow manure. Inside, he said he's managed to provide laundry workers with a chance to reopen the tendering process.
I suggested that if the on-site workers could do it at the same way and same efficiencies as somebody off-site, they needed a shot at it.
It was welcome news, but these workers are still angry with privatization. That's why they were hoping to confront Ralph Klein.
We half expected it. That's kind of a guy he is. He's chicken.
It was the fog that kept him out.
Yeah, right.
The federal cuts to the military are starting to pay off in Edmonton. 5 new homes have already sold as a result of a government decision last fall to close down Army bases in Calgary and Chilliwack and form a military super base here in Edmonton. In all, about 6,000 soldiers will eventually hang their helmets in the city. Most of the military personnel will march in over the next 2 years or so. Many of the troops will live on the base, but hundreds more are expected to buy or rent homes in the city and surrounding area. The first batch of troops is expected to arrive this summer. In British Columbia, fears of the so-called Abbotsford killer have prompted hundreds of tips to police. And now the public is also trying to help in other ways. One radio station in the Vancouver area has set up a homepage on the internet that focuses on the suspect in the murder of a 15-year-old Abbotsford girl. The homepage allows net surfers to get background information on the killing and exchange tips. The radio station feels the move could help the police investigation.
I had one fellow saying, have you checked out the banned buildings yet? And just the way that was worded was kind of, you got a sense that this guy, why isn't this guy caught? You know, why wasn't, have they done that yet? You know, it's like they're almost wanting to check on the work that's being done. And I'm sure the police probably get a lot of those sorts of calls, but we're starting to field them now, through the site.
This was day 2 of a huge labor protest in Hamilton. Police estimate 100,000 people took to the streets of that city to express their anger over the cuts of the province's Tory government. Here's a look.
They have to slow down. They have to listen. They have to allow consultation on legislation now. Their undemocratic actions stop today.
Teachers, laborers, healthcare workers, government workers, and social activists and their leaders together voicing outrage at the Harris government that they say is destroying the fabric of Ontario.
This is a huge special interest group, one that cannot be ignored. So Harris will have to listen, and I'm sure he will. Because if he doesn't, he is going to be facing a general strike.
So, what do you say to the critics that say, get off the streets, you guys, and wake up?
Well, we're not going to get off the streets, and we're not going to allow Mike to destroy what took generations to build, and he should listen. If he doesn't, it's at the peril of himself and the business community.
They marched through downtown Hamilton, cheering each other on as crowds gathered on the streets to watch the parade go by. Teachers who were absent from yesterday's parade were out in full force.
Well, we're trying to make sure that our education system doesn't get any worse than it already is.
We work hard and he just doesn't understand that.
OPSU President Leah Castleman, frustrated at the government's performance at the bargaining table, says her union is solid and scoffs at the government's notion that a possible strike will save the province $10 million a day.
Yeah, that's probably the typical reaction I would expect of someone who displays complete ignorance as to their responsibility to the people of this province.
Jackson Square served as a vantage point for some onlookers who weren't able to shop in the mall today. The first time in 24 years the square has closed on a business day. And once again, police presence was heavy around the Hamilton Convention Center, where the Tories are holding a weekend policy convention. The event wound up outside Cops Coliseum with union leaders taking to the podium. Organizers promised and police report no major trouble throughout the two-day event, now in the record books as one of the biggest demonstrations in Canadian history.
In world news this evening, the cleanup of an environmental disaster continues. Off the coast of Wales, salvage experts continue to pump out the remaining oil from the crippled supertanker Sea Empress. The vessel ran aground 10 days ago. The pumping operation is expected to take a couple of days. Meanwhile, there are new fears for seabirds and wildlife as oil headed toward the Marine Nature Reserve in the area. About 200 birds were recovered today. Veterinarians are working to save them. The cleanup operation will cost about $200 million. The mass exodus of Serbs continues from areas around Sarajevo. Despite the reassurances of the NATO forces, thousands of Serbs are leaving their homes. They fear reprisal attacks under the new Bosnian regime put in place as part of the Dayton Peace Accord. NASA has decided to delay a delicate mission for the crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia. The crew was to unreel an Italian satellite on a 20-kilometer-long fishing line and tow it around for a couple of days. It will study the Earth's magnetic field, but the delay has been caused by computer problems.
Liftoff.
Meanwhile, NASA has launched a polar satellite from an Air Force base in California. It will help scientists learn about the sun and its relationship to the northern lights. It will also help study the Earth's magnetic field. Well, actor Jack Lemmon has been honored by one of the world's best-known film festivals. Lemmon has been awarded the Golden Bear at the Berlin Film Festival. Lemmon is the 7th actor to receive the gold statuette in the award's 46-year history. Lemmon's likely best known for his roles in films such as Grumpy Old Men. He was given the award for his many years of fine movie making. They say cancer can be beaten, but many times the disease wins the battle for life. The story now of one young woman who got over the death of her mother by writing about cancer in a book designed for children.
Have you heard the story of Taylor the Tadpole? It's all about life and facing death in a family of frogs.
This is why I wasn't supposed to buy any flowers today.
Taylor's soulmate and creator is Laura Burdan. Like the tadpole, Laura's life was forever changed when her mother, Marianne, died of cancer 2 years ago.
It's helped me a lot. I was really surprised at how it is kind of a therapy of sorts. It kept me occupied. It gave me something to do.
I thought it was an ambitious project when she started it, and I guess you always wonder if anything's going to come of it.
This is what became of it. 16 pages of memories put to paper, illustrated by 2 high school classmates, Ian Leckie and Aaron Connor.
I like the idea of an animal as opposed to an individual because an animal was rather universal. It wasn't black or white or old or young or male or female.
The book was not only an emotional undertaking, it was the family's first lesson in the big business of publishing.
As most parents do, when all of a sudden you become aware of what's going on and you look at this printing cost and you ask them, okay, where is the $400 going to come from? Because you're afraid it's going to come from your Visa card or your checkbook. But she said, no, I'll hustle the money.
It's really exciting to get the feedback from people. I wasn't really sure how this was going to turn out.
The book was a labor of love, dedicated to the memory of a woman who was a best friend, mother, and wife to a family that misses her.
Marianne had a lot of silent pride, I guess. Help me with words. But I think she'd be very pleased with it, too. Yeah.
No more words need to be said. For CBS News, I'm Darcy Pollin.
If you passed through Edmonton's Chinatown this afternoon, you likely ran into some dragons and lions. Dozens of people gathered in the downtown core in the chilly weather to participate in the kickoff to Chinese New Year. The parade is called the Year of the Rat Firecracker. The Lions are supposed to bring good luck for the coming year. And still to come on ITV News at 6, Bond. James Bond. Well, not exactly, but the car that Bond drives in his latest flick has arrived in Edmonton. I'll take a look later on ITV News.
You're watching ITV News Weekend Edition. Mike Sobel is next with the weekend weather.
Well, it's time for the weather, but you know, Mike Sobel has just managed to escape the cooler conditions that have descended upon Alberta. Mike's down in Palm Springs for a few days, enjoying the warm weather down there, so we'll persevere without him, I suppose. There's some good news and some bad news in the weather department this evening. More sunshine for the rest of the weekend into next week, but colder. Here's our current conditions in Edmonton right now. It's minus 19 degrees. Overnight tonight, dropping to minus 27 degrees with just a few clouds, so definitely back to winter-like conditions. I guess we got a little spoiled there. And we'll take a look across the rest of the province as well this evening, and you can see that starting with Calgary, some light snow and cloudy conditions in Calgary. It's minus 15 degrees right now. Red Deer, light snow and minus 17. Jasper, cloudy and minus 12. It's some light snow as well in Lethbridge and minus 12 degrees. Grand Prairie, cloudy skies, minus 20 degrees. As you get further north, you can see the temperatures drop. Lloydminster, just a few clouds and minus 20, and in Fort McMurray, a few clouds and minus 20 degrees. Now, what's causing all this? Well, an Arctic ridge is building over the province. That means cool temperatures right through the province for the next few days. In fact, about 10 to 15 degrees below normal for this time of year. In the Edmonton area, the 3-day outlook is calling for just a few clouds tonight, as mentioned. Winds from the north at about 10 kilometers an hour overnight, and a low dropping to minus 27 degrees. For Sunday, mainly sunny with light winds, highs of minus 19, lows of minus 24. And for Monday in Edmonton, mainly sunny skies as well, light wind, lows dropping to minus 24, a high on Monday of just minus 17 degrees. And it could warm up a bit in the next few days after that, in Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. We're expecting a return of sorts to more mild conditions just as we approach the month of March. All right, well, coming up in sports, we've got some curling action from Thunder Bay. Canada will soon have a new women's curling champion. That story when we return. Well, in sports, Billy was back between the pipes last night. Bill Ranford made his return to the Edmonton Coliseum for the first time since being traded to the Bruins. Call it revenge or just plain hard work, but Ranford's new teammates took it to his old ones. The Oilers got on the board first, though. Lucky Luke Richardson with the shot from the point. Ellie Buckberger's there to jam it in, but Boston booms back as they catch the Oilers snoozing. Cujo doesn't have a chance on this one. Bob Sweeney gets credit for the goal, and it's tied at 1. A little bit later, the Bruins break out again. This time it's Adam Oates going in all alone on a great pass. He beats Cujo, Ray Bourque, and would you believe Bill Ranford gets the assists on that goal. And in the end, it was Boston downing the Oilers 7-4. The Bruins are in Calgary tonight to take on the Flames. The Oilers are in New York. They'll face the Islanders tomorrow afternoon. Back here at home, the U of A men's and women's volleyball teams will advance to the national finals after winning their respective series last night. Tonight, it'll be the Bears hoop team looking for its third consecutive national championship. They're on the road to that. They'll open game one of their best-of-3 semifinal tonight against the Victoria Vikes. Game time set for 7:30 this evening at Varsity Gym. Meanwhile, in Calgary, the Bears hockey team will once again try to salvage their season. The club lost its opening game last night to the Dinosaurs and could be eliminated from the playoffs if they lose again tonight. Game time in Calgary set for 7:30. To curling now, the Scott Tournament of Hearts continued down in Thunder Bay today. The semifinal matchup featured reigning champion Connie Laliberti for Team Canada against Ontario's Marilyn Bodo. Pick it up with Team Canada trailing by 3 in the 8th end. Laliberti with the hammer and a chance to score 3 to pull even. She makes the double takeout, but the shooter rolls out and she scores 2 on this shot. Now Canada trailing 5-4. Ontario scored 1 in the 9th to go back up by 2, but here Laliberti in the 10th. She's got the hammer, and it's a perfect opportunity to score 2 of her own to force an extra end. All she has to do is hit and stick. It's wide open, but Laliberti rolls out of the rings, and Ontario hangs on for the 6-5 win. They'll now face Cheryl Coleman, Alberta, from Calgary in tomorrow's final. And here at home, it may not be the Scott Tournament of Hearts, but it's as high as you can go if you're in high school and you're a curler. The Provincial High School Curling Playdowns held at the Otwell Club today. 3 games on tap. The mixed game had Spruce Grove beating Archbishop Jordan 6-5 in Game 1. On the boys' side, St. Albert edged out Leduc 7-5. And on the girls' side, Leduc won their match over Bev Facey by a score of 9-4. The winners advanced to the Provincials next weekend in beautiful Drayton Valley. And meanwhile, some of the best university athletes were putting themselves to the test down at the Butterdome today. The University of Alberta played host to this year's CWAA Track and Field Championships. The meet kicked off last night, continued throughout today. Hundreds of competitors took part in more than a dozen events. The event wrapped up the always exciting relay races, and even Gooba, the U of A Bears mascot, got in on some of the action down at the Butterdome. Good job for the U of A to host a big event like this. Many Edmontonians ignored the frigid weather today to make a run for stars. The second annual Stars Fun Run was hosted by the St. John's Boys School. And as Kathy Spenrath tells us, the event was a great way to fill one of the dog days of winter.
By looking at them, it's hard to believe this team of dogs just completed a 26-kilometer run going from Hermitage Park down to Fort Edmonton.
How do you feel after going 26K in minus 20 weather?
Good, good.
How do you think the dogs feel?
They're probably tired.
Tired.
They go at the pace they want. They feel comfortable. And we push them when we feel we can make a break for it.
But the sled dog race was just one of many events happening down here in the River Valley today, and they were happening all for a very life-saving cause.
This marks the second time the Shock Trauma Air Rescue Society, better known as STARS, has teamed up with the St. John's School of Alberta. The all-boys school focuses largely on outdoor activities, so they felt it was only natural to create a fundraiser to help a group which may one day have to help them.
If we were ever to have an emergency situation where we had to get the boys in quick if they were ever harmed or hurt, STARS would be there, and they'd get us out of that bind.
Meanwhile, today's main event gave the public a chance to see the STARS main attraction up close.
Is this the first time you've seen a helicopter up close?
Yep.
What do you think?
It's cool.
Other events included snowshoeing and winter sleigh rides along with the ever-popular bannock making. All in all, this winter festival was a success, raising about $4,000. But it was a bit tiring for some.
Hi, Jet. How was the race? Hi, Jet. You're speechless.
Kathy Spenrath, ITV Sports at 6.
Dog Day afternoon. And finally, here's a quick look at some of the more memorable moments in sports this past week. Start with golf. And Wayne Cox, the tee off on 15. It's a par 3 hole, but he doesn't need all 3. He gets it in 1. There it goes in. Nice shot. On to soccer. A pass out in front. And check out the hook shot this one guy has. Watch this. It's going, and it totally surprises the goalie, scores. Finally, some tough weekend action for this chicken at Whistler Blackcomb. He can't make that turn, and he's skiing like a chicken with his head cut off. And we're back in 2 minutes. Well, we don't have James Bond, but we do have his girl and his hot car.
What is it with you moving vehicles?
Bavaria BMW showed off its prized possession today, the new Z3. Since the car's film debut last year, it's better known as James Bond's car.
Sporty, go fast, excellent handling, a lot of fun to drive. I'd love to have one of these. I just can't have one this year. It's about a year's wait to get one now.
The racy red drop top is a true roadster with a 5-speed, 16-inch wheels and air intakes that look like shark gills. The car has it all, even room for a set of golf clubs in the trunk. For just under 40 grand, you can park this car in your garage, but they're all spoken for, so you'll have to wait. And we're out of time. Have a great evening.